So last class I have completed up to the cluster part, right? I have completed and then you know.
Dynamic clusters. The dynamic clusters we left dynamic clusters.
Mhm. Right. All right. What is the dynamic cluster? Before that, generally we will able to see what is the server template. Generally, Then after that, what is the dynamic cluster generally? So that is what actually two interview questions generally. See, server template means generally, what is the server template? So this server template feature which was introduced after weblogic server 2.c onwards. Okay. The server template
Okay.
which allows you to define common non-default attributes that you can apply to the different server instances. Okay. So generally
Okay.
those common attributes are contained in the server template only. So when we will able to do, whenever you need to change them in one place, and they can take effect in all of the server instances that you use the server template. Whenever you create use servers using the server template, whenever you change at the one place, which are going to be affected to the all of the server instances, right? That is
Yeah.
what generally which we can call it as server template. The primary use case for the server template is for creating the dynamic clusters. So whenever you are creating the dynamic clusters, generally which we are using the server templates. Understood?
Yeah.
The server template mainly, see, whenever you want to change some IP address or port number, you have to go to that, and every manager server you have to be changed, right? But
Yeah.
so the common attributes whenever you define by using the server templates, you can change there only, which is going to be affected to the all server instances generally in that server template. Then that is what actually we can call it as server template. Whenever we are creating the dynamic cluster, automatically which we can able to creating the server template also. So what is the dynamic cluster generally, right? Dynamic cluster
Yeah.
generally, which contains the one or more dynamic servers, right? Which contains the
Yeah.
one or more dynamic servers. Dynamic clusters, which is based on the single shared template. That is what I can tell you. This is what single shared template.
Template.
Template. You can use that server template, shared server template, to specify the configuration of the servers in your dynamic cluster. So each server doesn't need to be manually configured when you are expanding the cluster. Understood my point? Example,
Yeah.
generally what will happen whenever you want to create, suppose you want to create 10 servers. Okay. While
Okay.
you are configuring the dynamic clusters, you have to be given 10 servers count, right? And IP address
Yes.
and listen address, and click on next and click on finish button. Automatically, which are going to be create the 10 servers manually, no need to be
Mhm.
create. Manually, no need to be create. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Because of
generally, what?
templates.
Yes. Generally, why it has
Mm.
going to be, why we are using those in a dynamic cluster generally. So which are going to be increasing the number of server instances in your domain whenever the workload is increased automatically, right? So
Yeah. Scalability, right?
yes. So the
Mm.
number of server instances you anticipate, needing a peak load, then WebLogic server will create the specified number of server instances and calculated attribute values to each one. Clear?
Clear.
So
Yeah.
this is the purpose of configuring the dynamic cluster. So the configuration steps, it would be like this, and we don't have any tools here. So expand the cluster, click on the cluster. Instead of normal cluster, you can select the dynamic cluster, okay? And
Okay.
provide the name and listen address. Sorry, messaging mode. That is quite common. Like this. Number of dynamic servers. How many dynamic servers which is required? I gave you here 5 servers, okay?
5. Mm. Yeah.
So the moment I click on the finish button like this by entering these details, so 5 servers which are going to be created. See like this. Automatically it will take the name. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And port numbers also which is also automatically which is assigned. And manually you
Okay.
can start those servers. Okay. You can start the servers manually. So that is about the
Mm.
dynamic cluster and its configuration. So then after completing
Mm.
this, which you may have one thing here, what is the migratable targets or what are the migratable targets? Important entry question. Migratable target means these are the targets generally, at most, okay? These are the
Mm.
migratable targets is a targets that is active on at most one of the, you
Okay.
know, at most generally one server of a cluster, at a time. So which controls the servers. For example, whatever the request which is coming from the client, at most one server it is going to be handling those servers. So that is called
Mm.
those are that is called migratable targets. Those are called
At
migratable
most,
targets. At
at
most
most one server, one or more.
one server, like you have the
Mm.
10 servers in the cluster. At most one server it is going to be active.
One.
At
Okay.
most means in the sense compulsory one
Maximum
server,
one.
not maximum one. Compulsory one server at least running to processing the request because it is in a cluster,
Okay.
not maximum one. Right.
Mm.
So that is about, if you have the two servers in the cluster, one is failed, other one is running compulsory. That is what I'm trying to explain. Like that.
Oh, okay.
So there is the main use of the failure capability, right? That is what we can call it as migratable targets. Right. So this completely completes about the clustering part. We are moving into the other topic called deployment. So what's a deployment? What is deployment?
Yeah. Exact.
See, deployment is nothing but what. So this is the most frequent activity for the WebLogic server administrator. Okay, this is the most
Yeah.
frequent activity for the
Frequent.
WebLogic server administrator. Every alternative day we will able to do the deployments. That is again depends on the environment. Then coming to that, what is the deployment generally? Deployment is nothing but it is a process by which you can distribute the finished components or modules or applications, right? Installing in the
Yeah.
WebLogic server. Installing on the WebLogic server. Those modules or components or application which can access by the client or end user in a or in distributed environment, either it may be locally or remotely. That is what we can call it as, deployment. So in the deployment, what we can able to do, we are installing the applications, okay, or we are
Yeah.
installing the modules, or we are installing the components into the WebLogic server memory, and those are going to be accessed by the end user, either it may be locally or remotely in distributed environment. That is what we can call it as deployment. So generally in the deployment, what are the deployment, uh, source or deployment unit files which we are going to be deploying in the WebLogic server. So before I'm moving into that part, see whenever you're deploying var file, okay, what it contains actually in var file, all the
The
classes,
documents.
and methods only, right?
Yes. Yes.
So those classes and methods which are going to be in dot class, okay, in dot class.
Dot classes.
So those dot class files which are independent of the platform, you can run anyway. Either it may be Windows or Linux, doesn't matter. Dot class files are independent, which you can able to run anyway. So the collection of all the dot class files and methods and Java archives and we can call it as one Java application. Either it may be you know uh, web application or
Yeah.
enterprise application. Right. Let us we see what are the deployment source files or deployment unit files was there in WebLogic server generally. The first one, web applications, which is packed into the web archive, and enterprise application,
Mm.
which is packed into the EAR. Enterprise job means generally, which you can call it as EJB, which are going to be packed
Okay.
into the .jar, and the resource adapters generally which are packed into the RAR, and finally Java libraries which are packed into the jar. So regularly which we can deploy in WebLogic server var, ER and jar files, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that is what actually deployment units. Let us we see directory structures of web application and enterprise application, and as well as EGB applications. So can you tell me what is web application? Right. Okay. So a web application is nothing but what generally is a
It
group of.
contains servers, it contains servlets and JSP pages as far as my, I mean, it's something like images and it contains
See,
some servlets
web
for JSP
application
pages.
web application is nothing but what it is. It has going to be grouping all the server side resources. Example, servlets, JSPs, static pages, and all those. And creating online interactive applications by grouping all the server side resources. Create it has going to be creating online interactive application. So web applications generally which are going to be interacting over the web only, right? Without
Yes, yes.
web you cannot able to connect. That is what web application.
Web
So web
application.
application is nothing but it is a group of server side resources and that can create the interactive online application. So what are the server side resources like servlets, JSP, static pages, and client side updates? All those which you can group and create an interactive online application. Let us we see sometimes what will happen when you are supporting the dev target environment. So developers they may
Hmm.
pack or they may not pack, right?
Yes.
Into the .var or .er file. So in that case, how you are going to be assembling or packing the web applications or enterprise applications, whatever it is, before you deploying into the WebLogic server. So first
Hmm.
you can check about that, that application, whether it is, having in a prescribed directory structure or not. So then after that, by using the jar utility, you can assemble or packing into the .var.er file. Understood?
Yeah.
I'm setting the class. Go to that. Doesn't have any
Okay.
application here.
Yeah. This you gave it. Okay.
I'm just extracting this one, okay?
Okay.
And I'm removing this var file. I want to assembly or packing into the .var file. This is about my web application directory structure. Clear?
Yeah.
Command jar space hyphen cv of space. Able to see?
Yeah.
See somewhere. Able to get right?
Yeah. Not working.
Right. In this way, you can able to packing or assembling the applications into the var or er file whenever you will get in a expanded or exploded directory format. Right?
Yeah.
So next, what is the web application directory structure? The web application directory structure, it could be in a two ways. One is exploded directory format, right?
Yeah.
Second one is in a .archive, in a sense web archive format. So web
Gotcha.
application directory structure can be either it may be a archived file, in the sense .var file, and expanded directory structure, which is second way. Then whenever you extract this is what actually my web application in the sense it is a root of web application, meta enough generally which contains the you know archive tools, and web enough generally which contains the private files will not,
Classes.
yes,
Hmm.
will not served by the clients, and classes generally which contains all the server side classes, servlets and JSPs, and lib generally which contains the Java libraries like jar files, and very important
Hmm.
one last two files, web.xml
WebLogic and
and weblogic.xml.
WebLogic.
Web.xml is a deployment descriptor specific to the application, and weblogic.xml is the deployment descriptor specific to the WebLogic server. Right?
Okay.
Then let us
Yeah.
we are going to be discussing here what is the deployment descriptor. Right. In other words, DD. See,
Hmm.
deployment descriptor it tells about the two things. One is it tells about content of Java archive. Okay.
Okay.
And second, it tells about order of the deployment. Order of deployment.
Deployment.
Default order is 100. Based on this order only, which application is going to be deployed. Based on this order, it is going to be deployed the web applications. Right?
Yeah.
So this is what a deployment descriptor and it will do those things. There are two kinds of deployment descriptors which are available, right? One is web.xml,
Yes. A WebLogic data.
weblogic.xml. Very important entry question. What is the difference between the
Yes.
web.xml and weblogic.xml deployment descriptors? See, web.xml is a file deployment descriptor specific to the application configurations, right? Specific to the application configurations. All these configurations which you can able to see in the web.xml file,
Web.xml.
which contains only the application related configurations. And coming to that
Yeah.
weblogic.xml file, it is the deployment descriptor which contains only weblogic specific configurations. Example, all these. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So that is about the difference between the web.xml and weblogic.xml. Then after that, we are moving into that other interview question generally. See, whenever you are deploying the applications using the .var file in the sense archive format, what are the advantages? Or whenever you're deploying the applications using the expanded or exploded directory format, what are the advantages and disadvantages? All
Okay.
right. See,
Yeah.
whenever you're deploying the application using the archive format, so generally, these are going to be sharing or that .var file sharing of the web applications across the network. Okay.
Okay.
Whenever you are in a production environment, we always go with the archive format only because we are deploying the applications from the shared, right? Shared location.
Yes.
Then second advantage generally, it can share common resources. It can share common resources. It can be combined into the larger applications, right? It can
Yeah.
combine
Yeah.
into the larger applications. But the only one disadvantage, it cannot update application frequently. It cannot update the applications because which is already packed into the .var file. Right. Next,
Yeah.
we'll see differences between the archive and you know, expanded directory format. So archive kind of deployment in the sense archive in the sense .var file,
Not verify.
such kind of deployments
Gotcha.
which is preferable in the production environment, right? So whereas expanded directory format, which we can able to do the deployment using that type in development and debugging phase. And second one, generally second disadvantage, whatever we have seen here. So generally it can share across network, but whereas in expanded directory format, it cannot share across the network, right?
Yes.
Then in archive format deployment, you can deploy to the several machines in the sense target to the cluster. Whereas in
Yeah.
expanded directory format, you are going to be deploying to the single machine. There is nothing but only administration server only,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Applications will not be updated frequently in archive format deployment, whereas in expanded directory format, applications will update it frequently. So these are
We
about the
cannot
difference.
update. We cannot update in Java. Already archive file now. We cannot update.
That is what I'm telling you. In expanded directory, we are going to be updating.
Okay.
So these are the differences between the archive and expanded directory. Let us we see other one next application type
EJP.
EJB applications
EJP.
generally. What is EJB applications and what are the types of EJBs is there? So EJB is nothing but enterprise Java bench which returns in the Java all the components. Okay. See
A JTE
EJ,
application.
Mm-hmm.
EJB are the J2 applications, no?
Yes,
Generally.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Generally, what will happen? EJB it has going to be defines the following relationship between the EJB and its container, EJB container and the application server, and the container and the client. All the relationships generally which is defined by the enterprise Java beans. Let us we see what are the
And
types
it
of. Mhm.
it extends with dot EAR, no? That is var. This is
No, no, no.
EAR.
Dot jar. Enterprise Java beans which are going to be packed into the dot jar file.
Dot jar. Okay. Mm. Yeah.
And what are the types of EJBs which are available here? Total four EJB types which are available. Stateless session and stateful session and entity and message driven. What is stateless session generally? Which do not maintain any state for the client. Example, calculate billing of your last phone call. Okay. Further, do not
Okay.
maintain any state, right? Such kind of types you
Yes.
can call it as stateless session. Stateful session means which do maintain the state for the client. Example, whenever you are managing the shopping cart or whenever you are book a flight or book a car for rental, right? So for that, which we need
Yeah.
to maintain the state. Entity means represent some persisted data. Example, if you take the stocks history in your go down or in the go down, so which is already entered the system means go to there and you can check it, right? That is what
Yeah.
data already are represents some persisted data. And message driven means these are asynchronous generally consuming the JMS messages. These type of EJBs generally which are going to be stores in logging messages. So these are the
Yeah.
messaging types which we have. MDS, message driven service. You already seen like that, so that it would be possible by using the message driven. These are the types of
Message.
EJBs which are available in the
EJBs.
WebLogic server. What is the EJB application directory structure generally? So EJB components generally which are going to be packed into the .jar file. So the directory structure should be like this actually. This is what
Okay.
root of the your root of the
EJB.
root of the application, and these two are the class files, and this is about this is about the meta nf generally which contains about all the class files and everything. See, weblogic ejb-jar.xml file, it is the deployment descriptor specific to the ejb application configurations.
Okay.
weblogic-ejb-jar.xml, it is a deployment descriptor regarding the ejb for weblogic. Okay, WebLogic specific
Okay.
deployment descriptor in case of EJB applications. This is application specific in case of EJB applications. Understood?
Okay. Yeah.
So what we need to do as an administrator with EJB applications generally, we can configure and deploy and we can resolve the JNDA and another infrastructure issues, and we can monitor the caches and as well as the pools. These only which we can able to do as an administrator in the EJB applications or EJB components. And the EJB components are distributable components. Okay, that you can understand. EJB
Okay.
components are distributable components.
Distributor.
And the final one, enterprise application. So what is the enterprise application? Any idea?
Yeah. This one. Enterprise applications contains web applications, no? Web applications and enterprise Java beans and some rare files.
Right. So enterprise application is nothing but what it has going to be grouping all the it has going to be grouping of several resources into one deployable unit. That is nothing but what it is an .er file. Instead of
Okay.
deploying web applications separately and Java applications separately and resource adapters separately, so what we need to do by using an enterprise application, which we are going to be grouping all the server side resources or several resources into one deployable unit called an .er file. Example, er equal to var plus jar plus rar. And you can deploy
Rare.
only one deployable unit. By that, what are the advantages generally here? You can avoid the naming clashes, the first point. And second point, you can deploy an application as one unit and you can configure the local GDBC and JMS services. Then what is the ER
Okay.
file directory structure generally? See, The first one is the name of the or root of the enterprise application. Meta enough generally which contains the you know
Excellent.
no archive files, archive information, and application.xml. How we have seen in web application web.xml. Similarly, like that, application.xml is the deployment descriptor specific to the enterprise application configurations.
Okay.
WebLogic-application.xml, it is the deployment descriptor
Specific to
specific to the WebLogic.
specific to development. Okay.
And these two are the EJB modules, and these two are the Java archives, and these two are the web applications. All it is going to be grouping and deploying is a one deployable unit. Understood clearly? See,
Yeah.
I am telling, installing or deploying applications. What is deploying generally at the time of deploying? So generally, what you can able to deploy into the WebLogic server memory. Able to get my point?
Yeah. It's same. This one jar files, var files.
No, what it contains generally
Uh,
inside. So okay, fine. See, while you're deploying is nothing but what you're installing the classes and methods into the WebLogic server memory. In the sense, all the classes which you are going to be loading at runtime. Okay,
okay.
so that is what we can call it as WebLogic application class loader. What is WebLogic application class loader? WebLogic application class loader, which can point the classes and methods, right? Runtime
Yeah.
and loads into the WebLogic server memory, right? WebLogic application class loader is responsible for finding and loading the class files at runtime. See, whenever you start the server, so default by default it has going to start the parent class loader. So what is the parent class loader generally? Bootstrap class loader. So that bootstrap class loader initially it is going to be invoking and it has going to be loads all the default packages and methods and successfully. So when then next you can load the child class loaders in the sense applications into the WebLogic server memory. If all the
Okay.
classes are loaded into the WebLogic server memory properly, then only application comes into the active state. Else you will get the type cached exceptions. So that is what WebLogic application class loader hierarchy. Okay.
Oh,
Example, each application which is going to be receives its own class loader hierarchy with the system class loaders as its parent. Example, this is an application A and application B. It's loads into the WebLogic server memory. Clear?
yeah.
Right. So what are the targets which we can able to select while you are deploying the applications into the WebLogic server? Okay.
Okay.
Understood my point? The first one
Yeah.
generally, server instance, standalone server instances. Okay. Second one,
Okay.
clusters. Third one, virtual host. These are the three targets which we can able to select while we are deploying the applications into the WebLogic server. Clear?
Okay. Yeah.
Right. Next, what I need to do, what is the, before we are going to move into the deployment process, let us see what are the modes of deployments. Very important interview question. What are the
Most of
modes of
most of
deployments? There are
deployment.
three modes of deployments which are available. Stage mode, no stage mode, and external stage mode. What is stage mode and what is no stage mode and external stage mode? See, by
Okay.
default, which we may have the stage mode deployment only, right? So in the stage
Yeah.
mode deployment, all the deployment unit files, right? But whatever
Yeah.
the application you are going to be deploying, example, var file, okay? All the deployment files copied into the pre-configured staging directory of targeted servers by the administration server, right? That
Yeah.
in the staging, by default, the stage mode. In the stage mode, the administration server first copies the deployment unit source files to the staging directory of each targeted server. Understood? Then later it
Yeah.
is going to be deploys. Next time onwards, it won't look for the deployment unit files. It has going to be gets its own local from its own local copy, right? That is what
Oh.
stage mode deployment. In the sense, deployment deployment unit or deployment unit source files copied to the pre-configured staging directory of targeted servers. Who will do that copy?
Yeah.
Administration server. Before deploying, it will do. If this was happened
Okay.
successfully, then only it is going to be start the deployment. Else, it will give the error, right? Then
Yeah.
when to use the stage mode deployment generally? See, if application is big and the targets like around 20-25 servers, then how much time it will take to copying those applications into the staging directory of each targeted server? It will take long time, right?
Long time. Yes.
So that is the reason when we will use the stage mode deployment, whenever we may have small or moderate sized applications, right? So that
Mm-hmm.
time
Okay. Yeah.
we'll use the stage mode deployment.
Stage mode.
Then no stage mode deployment. See, in the no stage mode deployment, admin server cannot copy the deployment unit source files into the staging directory of each targeted server, right? So in this
Yeah.
case, the deployment source unit files deployed from the static location, in the sense from the shared location, including admin and manager servers, which are going to be browsed and access the applications from the shared location. Understood? Shared
Yeah.
directory, that is what which we can
It's
call
going
it
to
as
copy.
no stage mode. There
Mhm.
is no copy here. We just browsing the applications or we just accessing the applications including the admin and manager servers from the shared directory
Shared, right?
over the network. That is what which we can call it as no stage mode
Most.
deployment. In production environment,
Oh.
we always go with the no stage mode deployment only, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when to use the no stage mode deployment? Whenever we may have the requirement deploying very large scale applications to the multiple targets or to a clusters where the deployment files are available on a shared directory. In that case, we will go with the no stage mode deployment. Clear?
Yeah. Then
Then
whereas this one stage mode only small and moderate applications we
small
deploy, and
applications
whereas
only,
no.
small,
Mm-hmm.
very small.
Very small. Okay.
And in production, I'm telling right, every time we will go with the no stage mode deployment.
Yeah.
And the third one,
Okay.
external stage mode deployment. In this mode of deployment, very rare we will use generally. The files cannot copy by the administration server to the staging directory of targeted servers. Even we are not deploying the applications from the shared directory, in the sense from the static location. In the external stage mode, generally, whenever you may have the requirement to manage the deployment process manually, to managing the deployment process manually, that time we will go with the external stage mode deployment. In the external stage mode deployment, administrator, WebLogic server administrator, before starting the deployment, all the deployment source unit files which are going to be copying into the staging directory of targeted servers, either it may be manually or automatically. Then later
Okay.
we'll start the deployment. Understood? That is
Yeah.
what external stage mode deployment generally. So when we will go with the external stage mode deployment, whenever we have the requirement, manually control the distribution of deployment files to the targeted servers. That time, so we will able to go with the external stage mode deployment. Right? I already told you deployment targets. You can give WebLogic server instances, individual WebLogic server instances for standalone applications or modules, and clusters generally. Whenever you want to deploying the applications to the clusters, you'll able to give the cluster target. Then after that,
Mm.
virtual host. These are the three targets which we can able to give while we are anyone you can select. Okay, depends on the requirement when
Okay.
you're deploying the applications to the WebLogic server. Then
Okay.
after that, generally, what happened in the deployment, right? You are creating the
Mhm.
dependencies and copy the Java archives and creating the temporary objects which is required for the WebLogic because whenever it has going to be run, it requires some temporary memory, right? And
Yes.
creating the JNDA objects and binding them to the JNDA. This only will happen in the deployment. So what is the deployment process generally? Deployment process generally, it contains the following tasks generally. Preparing, configuring, and deploying and activate. Okay? Preparing
Okay.
means choosing whether the package or whether the deployment source file, as an archived file, keeping it as an exploded directory format, right? Taking and extracting while it
Mm.
is in a preparing stage. Configuring state generally creating the deployment plan that you'll able to get out to create the deployment plan in later slides, and to maintain the configuration and changing without changing the with or to maintain the configuration changes without changing the deployment descriptor. For that, which has going to be creating the deployment plan. Then deploying means the actual deployment generally targeting and distributing the applications to the WebLogic server in the domain, which means it has going to be distributing to the all server instances. And
Yeah.
activate means the actual deployment it has going to be starts in the active state. In the sense, all
Mm.
the classes and methods which are going to be loaded into the WebLogic server memory. So this takes place whenever the prepare phase was successful, right? Whenever the
Yeah.
application state comes into the active, then only end user can able to access the application. This is about the deployment process, right?
Yes.
Next, what are the deployment methods which you have in the WebLogic server? Deployment methods
Mm-hmm.
using auto deploy, right?
Yes.
Using admin console. These are the methods which we have, okay?
Yeah.
So we will go one by one, okay?
Okay.
Right. The first one, those are all the deployment methods generally. The first method which we are going with the auto deploy method. See, auto deploy, which is enabled only in a development mode. Whenever you start the domain in the development mode, which is not enabled in a production mode. Why it is enabled only in a development mode, right? So because
Yes.
so developers they can quickly test or experiment with an application, so that is the reason auto deploy feature is enabled only in a development mode. Because whenever they place the application into the auto deploy directory, automatically it deploys and sets the target to the administration server, which is available under this domain home, under the domain home auto deploy directory. Okay. And what I have
Okay.
to do for deploying the application, I need to be place the application into the auto deploy directory. Deployment is going to be complete if you do like that. Okay, you just copy
Okay.
the deployment source files or
Yes.
deployment
Yes.
unit source files into the auto deploy directory, then
Auto deploy.
automatically which deploys and sets targets to the administration server, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So let us we see generally what I need to do. Here we have some features actually. What is the fast swap and on demand deployment? See, fast swap feature is enabled, only both two features which is enabled only in a development mode only whenever you start the domain, and
Mm.
which are going to be WebLogic allows automatically reloads the modified Java class files within the application without deploying. Okay, whenever you
Mm.
enable this fast swap feature, right? Automatically
Yes.
reloads the modified Java class files within the Java application. That it would be possible by using the fast swap feature. You can add in weblogic.xml this line that is ready for enabling the fast swap feature. On-demand deployments, some default applications depends on the deployment which you can able to deploy, which improves the
Apply.
performance generally. I told you, auto deploy method is for quickly deploying an application on the administration server. It is recommended that
Mm.
this method only used for only the single server in development environment only for testing and applications,
Application.
right? Use of auto
Yeah.
deployment in a production environment or for deployment of components on managed servers is not
Is
recommended
not recommended.
in a
Okay.
production environment. Though it is not enabled in the production environment. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Let us we see how we can able to do deployment. So you can just copy the application into the auto deploy directory.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm just copying in my application.
Oracle. Okay. The file name. Okay. These domains. Next, I don't
Under
know.
that we have the auto deploy directory.
Yeah.
Just copy.
Yeah.
Go to the directory and check it,
Check. Okay.
which is available, right?
Yeah.
Go to the administration console.
Okay.
So click on the deployments. See, in bracket you
Mm-hmm.
have
Yeah.
auto deploy. After deploying the application into the administration console, you can do the following deployment, tasks. The first one, start and stop. What is a stop generally? See, when work is complete, which is already running, right? You want to stop this
Yes.
application accessing by the client. Stop. When work is complete means whatever work it is doing currently, then after completing that it has going to be stops. And forced to stop now.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately it has going to be stops. Stop, but continue servicing for administration request for administration operations. Similarly, like that
Okay.
start servicing all the request whenever it is in a admin mode, in the sense servicing only to the administration operations or administration request. That time you start all the request means service all the request means anybody can access the request. Otherwise,
Okay.
servicing only administration request. See, I'm just
Mm-hmm.
clicking on this application. I'm testing now.
Okay.
Click on
Okay.
testing.
Mm.
See. If you know the context root, directly go to the address bar and you can test it like this. Able to see, right?
Yeah.
Like this, which we can able to deploy and test the application. So what I'm doing this time generally, I want to stop the application, force to now. Okay. You can observe your state
Okay.
application status. Earlier active, now it
Yes.
is
Yes. Yes.
prepared.
Prepared.
Go to here, click on refresh, see, unable to access,
Mm.
right? I stopped.
Yes.
Though you are deployed, but you can able to stop, which is accessing by the client.
Yeah. This one administrator server should be up and running, no?
Then only, right?
While doing this
Then
step.
only you can able
Yes.
to access the
Mm.
application.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to the start again, servicing all the requests. See, I'm just
Okay.
refreshing. Go to
Okay.
your click on refresh. You can able to access it. Clear, right?
Yeah.
All the
Yeah.
after
Clear.
deploying the application, what are the tasks which you can able to do on the deployed application?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
if it is a real application, generally you can monitor about that application, generally, right? What it is,
Mm.
and what are the thread constraints, what is the minimum thread, what is the workflow, all those which you can able to monitor here. How many pending requests, how many completed requests, total 8 requests which are completed, okay?
Okay.
Click on control and click on testing and all those which you can able to monitor, okay, about that application. Clear, right?
Yes. Clear.
So then how you can able to undeploy the application? So go to the same path under this
Mm-hmm.
path and take the backup of the application and remove the application.
Okay. Real time, you have to take the backup and remove.
Yes.
Huh?
See, there
Mm.
is no application, right?
Yes. Yes. No application.
This is how you are going to be deploying and deploying, and after deploying, what are the tasks which you can able to do in the, you have done that part. Right, this is
Yeah.
about the first method. See, while you're using the auto deploy method, generally it will have some of the limitations generally. What is that? You cannot deploy to the other than administration server.
And listen.
You can deploy to the
Yes.
only administration server. You cannot have the option to change the targets also. Only administration server you can deploy. And second one, you cannot change the application name. The moment you place the application into the deploy directory, auto deploy directory, automatically it deploys. And you cannot deploy libraries directly, right? These are the
Yes.
limitations generally while you are using the auto deploy method. Understood, right? Auto deploy method.
Yeah, yeah. Understood. Yeah.
Next, second method we are moving. What is the second method? Console mode deployment.
Console.
In other words, using the admin console. Right.
Mm.
So generally what will happen using the console mode deployment, right? So it is a GUI based deployment in the sense, whenever you start the administration server, so and log into the administration console and click on the deployment and do the remaining part, remaining steps, okay? In the administration
Okay.
console, the series of steps it is going to be providing over there, go through that and do the deployment process, right? What you can able to do from
Yes.
the administration console, you can control all the deployed applications like monitoring and get the status of the deployment and change the deployment descriptor values depends on the requirement, and you can check about the deployment is up and running or not. All those which you can able to control from the administration console only, right? Whenever you want
Okay.
to do
Yeah.
any basic deployment functions, interactively or repeatedly generally, so you have to be access the admin console and do that all the process. These are the steps actually, okay,
Okay.
for deploying. Let us we see how after acting then how you are going to be accessing and testing the application. Starting, stopping, just now we have seen, right?
Yes.
What I'm doing now, I'm going to here. So I have some
Console.
applications. I have some applications in my environment on my on the desktop in my D files. All these are the some sample applications. Okay, I kept on my desktop
Okay.
in the desktop.
Mm.
So go to that start the admin server, which is I already started, and I need to start the cluster service also. Cluster in servers. In the sense, I want to start more servers, right?
Yes. Okay.
See, you can go here. Otherwise, you can refresh here also.
Okay.
Which is running, right? Coming to the running state.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So start the admin server,
Manage
log
one.
into the admin console, click on the
Mm.
lock and edit button if you are in a production mode, and click on the deployments. And see, in the administration console, install is nothing but deploy. Update is nothing but redeploy. Delete is nothing but undeploy. Right? So
Right.
click on install and upload your files. Here you have the two options. One is deployment archive, second one is deployment plan. So this you can able to get later, okay? Deployment plan. Okay.
Okay. Mm.
Browse the application and go to the specified path and browse the open the application. Click on next, click on next, click on next. Select the target. I'm selecting the cluster. Okay. Click on
Okay.
next and select this option, recommended section gallery. Copy this application onto every target for me. Click on next and click on finish button. So what I told, what is the default deployment mode? Stage mode, right?
Stage mode is
Then what is the deployment order I told you? 100, right? By default.
100. Yeah.
See, what is the default deployment
Stage
order?
mode
100.
100.
Staging mode,
Staging
stage
mode.
1.
Stage. Mm.
Right. So one application I have deployed successfully and which comes into the active successfully. Right? The application was deployed successfully. And repeat the same process, how many applications to deploy into the WebLogic server. Okay.
Okay.
And one important interview question, you may get doubt. Like you have the 10 applications, right? Example.
Yes.
So in which sequence are you want to deploy into the WebLogic server, right? Sequence of the
Yeah.
deployment. See,
Sequence order.
because one module which is depend on the another module generally.
Other model. Mm.
So developers they will specify the deployment instructions as part of the they are specifying all the guidelines as part of the deployment instructions. So in that they are going to be
Yes.
specifying. We will go through that doc and we will deploy according to the dependencies. Okay.
Okay.
Upload your files. Click on browse and for example.
We are doing in development mode only, right? These are all things are in development mode.
You can select that is not a matter. It is maybe development mode or production mode. You'll get only a lock and
Yes.
edit button.
Yeah. Okay.
Click on next and click on finish button. You can create the production mode also, domain.
Okay. Only that is only the difference. Activate,
And
edit,
some
and active changes.
security. I told you right differences. Development
Yeah.
mode, production mode differences. While we are creating the domain, I told you right.
Yeah.
And click on finish button. Like I have deployed all applications into my WebLogic server administration console, right?
Yes.
Then after see, I told you where it has going to be copies all the applications generally staging directory, right? Pre-configured
Staging it.
directory. I'll show you now.
Okay.
So what are the targets I selected? IMNG one, right?
Image one.
Can you find over there stage directory?
Still, yeah.
See here, the applications already
Yeah.
was there.
Mm.
See,
Here also same. Yeah.
to second server also. Clear?
Clear.
After deploying, what I need to do, I need to be test the application, right? Click on the application.
Yes.
See, you can see deployment plan we haven't configured it. That is the reason here you don't have any deployment plan here. Then
Okay.
click on the configuration. You can see about the application configuration. It has going to be application if it does not access continuously for 300 seconds, then it has going to be timeout. All the parameters can be there.
Mm.
You can able to configure it depends on the requirement. Then coming to
Okay.
the security, if you have any security related issues, otherwise you want to configure any standard, only application specific, only this application. Okay,
Okay.
only this application you can configure that security. You get the later security, but I am showing you here options. Okay, targets.
Okay.
What are the targets which you have selected? Whenever it required, you can change. Control means you can able to start and stop the application from here also, otherwise from the deployment tab also. Monitoring means you can monitor about all the services, like see two applications which are running, which are active state,
Active.
source information, and all these, right?
Yes.
Or then so then sessions, HTTP session replication. We don't do anything, right? Server failure, servlet session generally. Then workload.
We
How
didn't do
much?
anything.
Yes. How much workload? What are the pending requests? What are the completed requests? Is there any pending requests out there? All those which you can able to monitor from here. And
Okay.
then so we have the another tab called here testing.
Testing.
Click on the testing. Okay. Whether
Mm.
it is deployed successfully or not, we need to be test, right? For that,
Yes.
click
Yes.
on testing and click on here. See, this time you're able
Okay.
to accessing using the Python, right? C sharp.
Yeah, yeah, Python. That is
Then
both. Mm-hmm.
Python. In the sense, second manager server.
Python.
So in
Yeah.
cluster, any one of the server is going to be fetched redirects like this only. Because HTTP session which is going to be replicated across, server instances in the cluster. Understood?
No. Yeah, yeah.
This is how you are going to be deploying and testing the applications. Then after that, you can start and stop the applications also, which you have seen already. Okay,
Yeah.
and we have seen three statuses right about the application. So one is active, second one is prepared, and third one is admin. Total, we have seen three states right now.
Yeah, three steps, Lisa.
Right. Let us see. Very important interview question. What are the application statuses? Did you get my point?
Mm. Yeah. Prepared, active.
Wait, wait. Not prepared at. Yes, you have seen three. Yes.
Yeah, we saw three only as of now.
Application statuses generally. There are the
Mm.
various states of the applications which you can able to get. The first one, new. New means generally while you are deploying the applications, you are selected the target, but selected servers which are not running, right? So that time you'll able
Yeah.
to get the new state. In the sense you just installed, that's it. Activate means
Yes.
generally what will happen. So applications in the sense classes and methods which are going to be loaded into the WebLogic server memory successfully, and the end user can access whenever the application state into the active state. Prepared means
Yeah.
generally what will happen. You are controlling the application accessing from the client. In the sense cannot access generally. And admin statements, but it is also controlling accessing from the client only, but which is only for accessing by the admin role who are having the administration role, right? That is one
Yeah.
reason. Whenever you may have the application maintenance, so that time, so application state will be in admin state, and sometimes generally whenever that any one of the application is going to be failed, application states comes into the admin state also. In that case, application partially deployed.
Difference.
And failed means completely which are going to be failed the deployment, complete failure. These are the application statuses. How many?
Status.
How many was there?
Fine. Fine.
Active, preparing,
Active
admin,
prepared, admin,
and
uh,
failed
suspend. And the suspend
new.
is what? That is
No, that is server states. This is
server state. Okay.
This is application state.
Okay.
Deployed applications. These are all.
Mm.
Right. So then after that, I need to be undeploy, right? Applications after monitoring and testing the applications. I want to undeploy the applications. Otherwise, you can deploy, you can update the application also by using the update button, right? You can
Update option.
deploy,
Yes.
you can update the application also. You don't have any updated application here for updating. Then how you are going to be undeploying the application? We have seen start and stop also. Undeploying the
Yeah.
application, go to the administration console, stop the which application you want to undeploy, stop that application,
Check.
okay, and take the
Okay.
backup of those applications, and
Mhm.
select all applications,
And
click on.
one more thing, this one. What is the difference here? Stop is there, forceful stop.
I told you, right? Stop means, forced to stop means immediately it is going to be stops.
Okay. Mhm.
When work is complete means generally it has doing some work, processing some request. After completing those existing work, then it has going to be stops.
Okay. Okay.
That I selected, click on delete button.
Delete.
Completely you are undeploying the applications from the WebLogic admin console. But start and stop
Yes.
WebLogic application was there and deployed, running, but the client cannot able to access.
Yeah. No,
So we
not.
have done right successfully deploying and deploying all the deployment operations using the admin console. And in
Yeah.
real time, so
Mhm.
whenever we want to update the application and whenever you want to redeploy the or deploy the applications, one or two applications generally. In that case only we will go with the auto admin console deployment, because we are deploying the applications one after other. Okay, we are not
Yes.
deploying all applications at the same time. That is one disadvantage actually, right?
Yes.
For that, which we may have the command line deployment methods. What are those command line deployment methods? All these methods are command line deployment methods. If you
Deployment.
can able to prepare the scripts and how many applications you have in your environment doesn't matter. You have to be prepare all the scripts and deploy all applications at the same time, right? That is what
Yes.
command line
Command
deployment.
line
So
deployment.
in that first we are going to be discussing about that weblogic.deployer utility. It is a Java class generally. In other words, they will ask some question like this. Can you deploy the applications using the Java utility? Yes, which I deployed by
Yes.
using the following Java class utility, which is nothing but weblogic.deployer
Deploy.
utility. See, this as Java class, which are going to be providing the interface and deploying the applications into the WebLogic server, both basic and advanced deployment process, right? So,
Yeah.
example like this. WebLogic deployment utility is nothing but what it is a command line based interface for performing all the deployment operations. Then, generally, what is the syntax? Java space weblogic.deploy options. So you can deploy, undeploy, redeploy, start, stop. This is the applications.
Applications.
This is for deploying the one application. You can deploy individually one application also. Otherwise, you can prepare the scripts. All applications you can deploy at the same time. Example,
Okay.
this is what I can
Hmm.
do. Java space deploy. While you are deploying the admin console, you are entering the admin console, right? By
Password.
giving the username and password.
Username and
Same thing
password.
you have to
Yes.
specify here. Admin console URL and username,
Hmm.
password, and application name
Yeah.
and source
Name.
from which path you are getting that application and action.
Okay.
Deploy or
Hmm.
undeploy. See, I have specified sequence like this, right? There is no
Yes.
sequence. The options which you can able to specify in any way, but you have to be specify all options. Okay? There
Okay.
is no way you have to be follow like this sequence only. After that, when URL you can specify option you whatever the option you want, right?
Hmm.
And
Yes.
for redeploying, this is the example syntax. For undeploying, this is the syntax. I want to list how
Hmm.
many applications I deployed into the my administration console. This is the syntax.
Okay.
Understood, right?
No. Yeah. Only last option will be changed. Like
Yes.
hyphen deploy. Yeah.
No, for undeploying, which does not require the source.
Yeah. For undeploying the difference. Yes. There is no
Hmm.
source. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Let us we see now.
Okay.
I want to prepare the deployment tasks. Okay.
Okay.
See, after I am deployed, there is no applications here under the staging directory. Automatically
Yes.
it deletes.
Deleted. Yeah.
So go to this path.
Okay.
See, I'm showing in real time way. I'm not showing one application deployment. I'm showing bulk applications. Okay? How you are going to be deploying more than one application.
Okay.
See, one it is not useful to you in real time. One application. Right? You can write all the scripts instead of writing. I'm copying. Okay.
Okay.
Deploy all dot sh. See, whenever I want to execute any Java command, first what I need to do, I need to be set the class path, right?
Yes.
That is also I'm automating. So go to my home, right? Oracle, IBM home, right?
IBM home.
These are projects domains and IBM domain, right?
IBM domain. Yeah.
And bin. Under that, it has going to be execute dot space domain in the data set.
Hmm.
Then, after that, if I don't want to prepare the script, I can issue the command for deploying one application. Then after that, another application like that. But I don't want like that. I want to deploy all applications at the same time because in my
Dated.
environment, 300 applications I want to deploy. I want to deploy as soon as possible, right? By preparing
Hmm.
the scripts and also I am automating the deployment tasks. Java space.
Yeah.
Once I prepare the script, whenever I'll get any application, I can add it to the scripts. That's it only. Whenever
Yes.
Some of the applications which was not there, I can remove from this. Otherwise, I can make it
Remote.
as a comment. So
Mm-hmm.
let me
And it
read
is
it.
very good actually.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, generally, if you get from other people like this training, they won't show you all this. They will tell you only one
Mm.
application because it is not useful in the real time.
Okay. But in real time, depends, right? Suppose if we want to deploy many applications sequentially, if suppose if we are writing all these applications step by step
Hmm.
to be deployed, it will be deployed step by step, or how? Suppose we are writing here a script to deploy three applications, for example. First
Hmm.
application will we wrote here benefits.var first.
Hmm.
Next messaging.var. Okay, what's first one? Which one it picks first script only, right? Based upon the
That's it. That's it.
uh, yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, you'll give the what you can say first script only. One after that, it is going to be sequential. Sequentially means the process here you are going to be reducing. You are automating manually. You are copying manually. You are clicking and go to that process. All process you are reducing, right?
Yeah, reducing manual work will be reduced. Yes.
Password, welcome, and targets I'm giving actually. Here you'll able to give a cluster name. Otherwise, server names also.
MIG two. Oh.
Then applications which are coming from the same path only. See,
Mm.
JavaSpace deploy utility, admin URL, and username, password, targets. Here mode, stage mode, or optional stage
Stage
mode,
one.
or no stage mode. You have to be specified here only. Okay.
Yeah.
Application name, deploy or undeploy, redeploy. You have to be specified here. Source, from which path you are getting. Verbose means it is a deployment. How it is going to be displaying the more information about the deployment. This is for one application. If it is a library,
Mm-hmm.
you can specify the additional option called hyphen library. Else, no need. And copy and paste
Okay.
and do the same thing for the second application also. Third application. Like how many applications you have, like that.
Here cluster. Shall we give cluster here? Okay.
You can give you cluster name or
Cluster.
server name, whatever it is. Both
Okay. And depends upon the requirement, we write scripts, Madhav, in the real time,
depends on the
depending
requirement.
upon the.
Yes.
Mhm. Okay. Okay.
One time only all these preparation.
Hmm.
Then after that we'll use the same thing.
Same. Yeah, this is good actually. And also there will be those developers will be specifying this one also, no? Stage, whether to use stage or no stage, or
Now
we have to
we are
identify.
deciding. Developers cannot. We are the administrators, right? Why they are deciding?
Yeah, depends upon the application size and
No, we are going to be
criterias
deciding.
there.
Developers they cannot involve into that. They are going to be specifying only sequence order.
Okay. Mm.
So this is about I have prepared for deploying. Okay. Press escape,
Okay.
save and exit, ch mode, people save. I'm giving the permissions to this script. Okay.
Okay. Otherwise we can't. Yeah.
Dot slash deploy all data sets.
Yeah.
It won't ask anything. Deploy sequentially only. One complete, next will go.
Okay. Yeah.
See here. Able to see here?
Yes, yes, I'm able to see each and every application is being deployed in respective servers.
If you are not started the target, you will get deferred server. In the sense, server is not started, but you are deploying the applications. Like new state you will get. See, finally you will get how many applications deployed into the WebLogic server. How much?
Five, six.
6. So how it is? How easy it is?
Easy, very easy it
Right.
is.
Click on refresh. All applications which is deployed simply. All are in a
Oh,
active state. Then after
active
that,
state, yes.
you can click on that application and click on testing. You can do all the deployment tasks again, whatever we have done in earlier method. Okay, like this.
Mm.
And click on the deployments. You can go with any other applications generally. So messaging and click on testing. If you know the context root, directly you can type in the address bar. That's it.
Context.
In the sense like this. HTTP colon localhost colon python slash messaging. If you have remembered, or
Okay.
if you have no, directly it will
Okay.
type on the log.
Go for testing. Yeah.
Yeah. So otherwise, you can go here. We have the option called testing. You will go to the tab and then click on that application URL. Right.
Yeah.
This is how you are going to be, deploying and testing the applications and listing the applications. Okay. Next,
Okay.
what I need
And
to do.
here, this one manage server 1 and manage server 2 will be automatically running. I mean,
No, I started
before
right before starting the
started.
deployment.
Okay.
Automatically, how it would be run without
You have to
starting.
start it.
We need to be start
Okay.
manually. Then similarly like that, I need to be prepared for the undeployed script also.
These scripts you already wrote somewhere else, or?
No, I already wrote. See, if you write like that 10 to 10, 15 applications, it will take time. I already prepared.
Okay, okay. Uh,
See, I need to be right again here. Dot slash cd space dot slash home like that.
no,
Okay.
no, 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 no. It takes a lot of time.
Uh,
Understand?
only deployment only it will take 4 or 5 classes. Cd
You
space
are pakka planned person.
Oracle
Oracle, IBM, IBM Home,
user
user
files
bias,
domains.
IBM domains, IBM domain.
And here what I need to do, I have to change the admin URL, right? First.
Admin URL, yes, yes.
Then
File.
see, for undeploying, what is the syntax generally? Java space weblogic deployer, admin URL, username is what weblogic, and password is what welcome one targets.
IME1.
And mode. The remaining things which are common. Oh God, this wait.
What happened?
No, wait. I have copied deployed script.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which is not copied actually from the script. I have copied deployed script. Same deployed.
Okay.
Right.
So, and also, shall we discuss this also? We have issues, right, in this deployment issues.
What kind of issues?
I mean, if suppose anything goes wrong, I
No.
mean, interview
See,
perspective.
it's interview prospect only. If you will tell like this, you will ask in other way. You only ask. See, if you are prepared for one static issue, that you can,
Yeah.
while you are deploying, I told you one issue, typecast exception issue. Typecast. What is the typecast exception issue? When you will get? I already told you one issue. While it is
Yeah.
loading the classes into the WebLogic server memory, if it cannot load properly into the WebLogic server, you will get the typecast exception issue. Go to the log file and check about. Then is there any deployment as going to be deployment source unit file as going to be failed? Go through the log file and investigate it and find out that application and associated with the dev team and ask for the updated var file and redeploy again and we'll get into the admin state, running state.
Mistake.
Sometimes what will happen, deployment is going to be failed even though uh, applications are deployed successfully. The reason is what all these only. It cannot find some runtime dependencies. Okay.
Mm. Okay.
Those that is one common issue.
Okay.
Let's just save on it. The reason is what deployment issues which is not static again. But whatever I
Mm.
told you, this is static. And in the sense, definitely you will get that only. If does not load it, it cannot find classes at runtime.
mm. Undeployed. That one
Can deploy.
we can't stop, no? That one we can stop by control C.
No, it does not happen anything. It's just updating.
Okay. Undeployed completed also.
And sometimes they are going to ask the scripts also in the real time. If you are
Yeah,
going
then
to
this will be useful. Yeah, this will be useful for me.
no, no,
Actually.
no. While you are going to the interview, they'll ask the script. If I done the deployment through this method means they are going to ask the script also. The script I am telling about, whatever you wrote the script, they are going to ask the script also. Hello?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. This is about the third method. You have seen, right? See?
Yes.
Then fourth method, generally, what it is? ANT tool. ANT tool and Maven tool, these are the build tools actually. Deploying and deploying and do all the deployment tasks into the WebLogic server.
Hmm.
Okay?
Okay.
ANT is nothing but another neat tool. So generally, whenever you're deploying the applications using the ANT tool, internally they are going to be invoking again weblogic.deployer utility only. Right? It can automate the
Hmm.
deployment tasks by placing with WebLogic WL deploy commands. So what we need to do generally, ANT tool, which is used for automating the deployment tasks like deploying, undeploying, start and stop, and redeploying and update the applications by preparing the build.xml file. So generally, what we will do why we are going with this command mode deployments generally. So by using this command mode deployments, or it is going to be allows you to deploy an applications quickly for quickly evaluation of the testing in dev environment as well as in a production environment. For quickly we can deploy and testing those applications. Understood?
Yes.
That's the
Yes.
reason we are
Yeah.
going with this and all the command line deployment methods. In that we are going to be seeing the second method called ANT tool. See,
Hmm.
whenever you are doing the deployment using the ANT tool, which requires the build.xml file, right? The name should be build.xml only. In that build.xml, how we have specified in the Java space weblogic.deploy utility, right? Similarly, like that, you have to be specify in the build.xml, but in XML format, right?
Okay.
The
Yeah.
project name generally, the default name what we have to be give, if it does not specify any action, so it will take the default action. Like that admin server name, username, targets like deploy, undeploy, redeploy, like this. This is the sample structure of the build.xml. Example, it is look like this. Then
Okay.
what are the commands generally which I can able to do with the ANT tool generally? First, you have to be check about the ANT which is available in your environment or not. So by default, whenever you install the WebLogic server, you will get the ANT, tool which is available under the modules directory. Set the class path and check the ANT version. If it is available, okay. If it is not available, you can start installing the ANT tool. Depends on the WebLogic server version. Then after
Okay.
completing that, you have to be prepare the build.xml file. So after preparing the build.xml file, you have to be execute that build.xml file by using this command. Then make sure you will get the build successful. Then I have specified deploy all, undeploy all, redeploy all these tabs in the build.xml file, these commands. By using these
Yeah.
syntax, you can able to deploy, undeploy, redeploy, and list applications using those commands into the WebLogic server. Right?
Yeah.
See, this is very quick way. Like it will take 5 or 6 seconds. That's it for deploying, undeploying,
Yeah.
redeploying, and all those. Very quickly you can deploy. Let us
Mm-hmm.
see how I can able to prepare the build.xml file. See, sometimes generally what will happen, developers which are going to be providing the build.xml file, and else we are going to be preparing the build.xml file. Understood?
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes developers, otherwise we.
We
Okay.
are going to be
And okay. Yeah. And another neat tool. Is this abbreviation?
yes.
Oh, simple general abbreviation is not that much.
I just copied.
Okay.
I just copied the build.xml file. See, I didn't check whether the ant is available or not.
Yeah.
I have set the class for, see, which space ant, which is coming from my home only, right?
Yes. Yes.
Message which is available, right?
Yes. So, for sure.
Clear?
Yeah.
Then vi space build.xml file. Whenever I am doing the deployment using the ant tool, so which requires the weblogic.jar file, right? See, press I. What is the default action I am if does not if I am not specify any action? What is the default action?
This steps.
In the sense, listing the applications.
Listing application. In that we have to put the application names. Huh?
No, already there, right? Already defined. How many applications you deployed into the WebLogic server?
Six.
It has
Okay.
been, no, that over here. This is next method.
Okay.
List apps means listing the applications. How many applications you deployed into the WebLogic server? Either it will be 100 or 200. By default,
Okay.
if you does not specify any target like deploy and deploy, it will take list apps, listing the applications,
Okay. Got it.
and username WebLogic and password welcome one and administrator hostname localhost and URL
500.
port number 501 and admin server username, admin server name
Heavy amount.
IBM admin, and targets here also you can able to give us server instances,
Okay.
cluster name
Okay.
and application name where you are getting that application and path. Source one is path. This is for one application. Copy second application, third application, fourth, and fifth. How many applications you have? That many times you can copy and paste it and change the application name. Right?
Okay.
Then
Yes.
I need to be set the task definition generally. So for that I told you, right? So which requires the weblogic.jar file under the following part. Then only
Yeah.
it is possible deploy the applications using the ANT tool.
And
So that only, right, I have specified path.
yeah.
See, it's available, right?
Yes, sir.
That only, right, I got home Linux, Oracle, IBM home, WL server 10.3
Server
server
link.
lib, WebLogic server.
Yeah.
So I have defined the
Yes.
task definition. Then after that, I need to be deploy the applications later. See, all the parameters I have defined here. These same parameters I am calling over there. Okay. What is my action?
Yes.
Deploy. See, this is the command I gave you, deploy all. So instead of that, it will give you whatever you want. Okay.
Okay.
Action deploy and name deploy name one. Already there name, right? Source one,
Yes, already there.
username, password, verbose. And if it is a library, you can make it is true, and else you can make it false.
False.
And admin URL targets, which you will able to get from the above, which is defined already. And second application same. Okay.
Okay. If you put true also, nothing will happen, no?
The
Anyhow,
true
we
means
don't have.
it is take it will take like library. Libraries
Oh,
you cannot access directly. It is not application generally. It has only supporting to the web applications and as well as the enterprise applications.
oh, yeah.
Dependencies, right? I told you dependencies, those
Yes.
only.
Yes. Yes.
Then third application and fourth application and fifth application. And you whenever you will get sixth also copy and paste and change the application name. And that is for
Yeah.
deploying. and redeploying applications. Same way, you can redeploy, right?
Yes. Redeploy.
Then for undeploying does not require, source. So sometimes they will ask this script also. You have to be ready with this, okay? So what is
Okay.
file on error generally? See, while you are undeploying the applications, any one of the applications have not undeployed. So stops there only. By default, it is true. You can make it false means it will go to the next application and deploys. If any
Oh,
one of the
okay.
application, it cannot stop there only. It will go to the next application and do the remaining undeployments.
Mm.
To do like that all applications. Then finally, what I need to do, I want to list the applications, right? How many applications I
Yes.
deployed into the WebLogic server. That I specified. Close the target and close the project.
Project.
Save and exit.
Error. Oh.
Oh, no error. So I need to be execute and space hyphen f build.xml file. I haven't specified any target right here. It will take the
Yes.
default one only. Make sure build successful. See here, there is no applications to list. I haven't deployed anything right. Okay.
Yeah.
And space deploy hyphen all. It will deploy all applications into the WebLogic server.
Okay.
You can see the time also. How much time it will take?
Yeah. Very less time. 6 seconds. Oh.
Go to the admin console, click on refresh button, see,
Yeah. Active.
click on that application and click on testing and click on this application. See,
Yeah.
like that you can start and stop, you can able to do from here again, okay? So click on the test DS and click on the testing and click on the application. You get the test DS application, right?
Yes.
This is how you are going to be deploying and, testing the applications. What I need to do, I want to list the applications, how many applications I deploy, okay?
Okay. Okay. Commands we have to remember these things.
No, I already gave you a
And keys.
build.xml file, right? Build.xml file.
Yeah. Yeah. Already
Right.
we have list apps. Yes.
See, VS space. I gave you already this one. This is not
Starting.
remember. Whatever you want, you will able to give. Instead of list apps, you will give you something also. List
Something.
application.
Okay.
These are not
Okay. Got.
static. Which I gave you like that.
Okay. Yeah. Got
So
it.
it displays, right? List of the applications. How many applications deployed into the WebLogic admin console?
Hmm. No, it is not displaying up to now. Yeah. Number of applications found
Five.
5.
And space undeployment.
Undeploy 0. Oh, now you are doing undeploy. Okay.
Hmm. How much time it will take? 5 seconds.
6 seconds.
Five
5.
only.
Oh, okay. 5 applications. 5 seconds.
Right. Then you can check about the list tabs.
Steps again. Now 0.
You will get there is no applications to list. See,
Yeah. There is no applications to list. Okay.
so clear, right? This is the fourth method.
Hmm. I
Understood?
mean, generally, which one they will use for quicker things? And only, right? Generally, people use and no, but to save time.
Yes, we'll go with the ant. If you take the SOVA, most of the cases we'll go with the ant or Maven. Ant tool.
And or
Ant tool. We'll go with the most of the
oh,
cases ant. But
okay.
in WebLogic, it is depend on the client specific actually. So we cannot tell like this, go with this method only. In your HCL, most of the cases they will go with the admin console only
Hmm.
if the
Yes.
projects are government projects.
Hmm. Why like that? Why even people, human being psychology is to save the time, no? Why they
No, see,
wants
if it
us
is a government project, there is no much, you know,
urgency?
no, not urgency. Once they are deploying, mostly they will get the updates only.
Okay.
So if it is like if you take the different applications, generally bank applications like that. Regularly, you will get the updates, and there are a number of modules and applications you will get over there.
Mm.
So that time, that method is not possible, right?
Yeah, depends upon the things we have to.
We have to take it, and that is also which is decided by the again business architects, which mode we need to be deployed.
Okay.
Next, deploying using the Maven.
Maven.
Yes. See,
Okay.
Maven is also another build tool. Both are coming from the Apache only. Apache Corp. Both are coming from
Mm.
the Apache Corporation only. But Maven, which is having the another important things was more options than ANG tool for developers, not for us. They can
Okay.
compile, they can design, and they can test the application using the Maven tool. Okay, they can they
Okay.
can create the application, they can test the application, they can whatever they want, they can able to do by using the Maven tool. Like they can create the projects also. Right. There is a
Oh.
reason. So Maven tool, which was introduced after WebLogic Server 11G onwards. So it is a build tool generally, which is also which requires the form.xml. How we required in the build.xml file for the auto deployment NT tool. Similarly, like that,
Yeah.
even in Maven tool also, which requires the form.xml file. Form is nothing but it stands for the project object model, right? It contains in a
Yeah.
XML format all the fundamental unit of the work in a Maven, which is specified in the form only. It contains all the goals and plugins, right? It is executing a task or goal. Maven looks up for the form in the current directory only, right? Like all
Okay.
these
Yeah.
are. See, WebLogic Server 10.3.x onwards, these are the features generally which are provided. 12 onwards which provide these features, okay?
Okay.
See, install, create and all those which is provided by the WebLogic Server Maven. Let us we see. See, a Maven doesn't get while you are installing the WebLogic Server. You have to be installed, independently or separately. First, what you have to do, what is the prerequisite to install the Maven? Install the Java, okay?
Okay.
For you doesn't require you are in a 32-bit installer, right? You just go to the domain
Yes.
bin and set the class
Mm.
path. Okay, already Java
Okay.
version you can able to get because it is already pre-packed, right?
Yes.
And see, then this is the first step actually prerequisite, and second step, issue this command automatically, which is going to be download the Apache software to your local machine, right?
Oh, okay. Yes. WGET. Yes. Mm.
Yes. Then after that, you can issue su space hyphen c. You can extract it under this path.
Mm. Okay.
Then after that, so you have to be prepare the class path or set the class path. Su space hyphen v under this path you have to be prepare the script. Okay,
Yes.
like export m to home, Maven home, and export to the path. You have to be prepare the class path. Then after that you will able to see check about the Maven one
Yes.
time. Three steps only. Okay, I have already
Okay.
done that part, that process.
Mm.
Java space. See, you got right, Maven version.
Yeah. 3.0.
It's already there. But for you, you have to be go through all those four steps for installing the
Steps.
Maven. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Then after completing that, Maven tool is ready now. But you have to be
Mm.
create the, install the Maven plugins with WebLogic server, right? Install the Maven
Yes.
plugins with WebLogic server.
Logics.
So for that, what we need to do, set the class path. I already set. Go to the WL server home server lib. Okay.
Okay.
Issue the following command: Java space hyphen jar WL Java deploy dot jar profile WebLogic Maven plugin. I'm creating the WebLogic Maven plugin. Okay. Enter.
Okay.
But this method nobody tells actually. Who are working in real time, those only knows.
Yeah. That's not.
Maven tool.
Will you share that doc, that one, especially Marvin
I'll tell you
producer?
which is required. Which is required. I'll show you that one.
Okay, sure.
Right.
Because
Then,
coding part, no, coding
hmm,
part, I
right.
require it.
Okay. Next, what I need to do after prepare the Maven plugin, I need to be extract it. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm just extracting. After preparing the plugin, I'm just extracting.
Okay.
Right. So after extracting, you will get go to the meta init, then go to the Maven, right?
Yeah.
Go to the weblogic Maven plugin. In that, go to this path.
Pom.xml, yes.
Go to that path, okay?
Okay.
And move the pom.xml to the WL home server lib.
Okay.
After that, you can check. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next, I need to be install the Maven plugin. See, while you are doing this process, you have to be connect to the network.
Because how can I download this one? No, I have to connect to
That
the net.
that is what I'm telling. Without
Okay.
you cannot get all this process. It is going to be creating from the central repository.
Mm.
So I'm installing the Maven plugin now. Where from where I'm getting my pom.xml file, IBM home server lib
IBM
only,
home
right?
server.
Otherwise, you'll get issues if you're not connected to the network. So build success,
Internet.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So in the sense, now I am completing the installation part, and now I prepared for deploying and deploying using the Maven. All the steps which I have completed, right? So what is the syntax for
Yes.
deploying the applications? Maven pom dot. This is what actually goal. Okay, deploy. Admin URL you have to be specified. Username, password, and targets and source for one application.
Yeah.
So and second application copy and paste, and like that how many applications we can do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And undeploy. This is the goal actually. For undeploying does not require the source here. So you just require the admin URL, username and password, and application name and target. And
Okay.
redeploy, which requires the application username and password, admin URL, and the source and application name. And you can start and stop the applications also from this Maven tool. So this is what actually syntax for starting the application, and for stopping the application also stop app like this,
Okay.
and listing the app
Yeah.
like this. Understood?
Yeah.
Updating,
Got it.
getting the help. All those are the commands. Okay.
Okay.
Let us. I see. I already prepared those scripts also.
Okay. If suppose they say in the interview like you have a scripting knowledge, I can say all these things, no? Whether
No, you have to do from the scratch, preparing and all those. Like each command you can type it. You don't have the scripts, right? If you
yes,
already
I don't
have,
have
you
to.
can. If you already have, you can modify it according to the requirement. Yes, space deploy from maven.sh. See, press I. See, I don't want to show you only one application deployment, but which is not useful in the real time. There is the reason I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But for me, it is a matter of 1 second actually. I'm just typing this one and deploying, but which is not useful in the real time.
Mm.
Right. Deploy admin URL 5001 only, username, password, and targets I need to be changed. Here you can give the cluster name also. Okay. I'm just going here. What is the
Okay.
cluster name?
Cluster
Dev,
one.
Dev cluster.
Dev class. Dev cluster.
Right, I have specified, right? Everything I have
Yes.
specified. So next what I need to do, press escape, save and exit. I need to be give the permissions, right?
Yeah.
Similarly like that, I need to be prepared for undeploy also, right?
Yeah.
Here, the only one thing you cannot get here source.
Yeah. Target. Okay.
Same script only, you cannot get the source, that's it.
So, and if suppose we have 100 applications, no, we can't change like this. We have a Unix command search. I mean, search and replace.
No, you just do that part. You can do it like that also. This is
Okay.
what VA editor, right? Do
Yeah.
it here. No, I'm showing you this. That's it.
Okay.
Percentage, yes. What is the old text here?
Yes.
nmsg1 slash
Mm.
dev plus
Yeah.
g. You can do it. You
Okay.
can do it. That is not a problem. I'm showing you that I already told you right in
Okay.
VA editor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, you can copy and paste in a notepad. You can do it like that also.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
Press escape, save and exit. No, if I tell like that, VA editor also it is some people they are thinking in different way again.
How?
In the
How
sense,
to?
VA editor, right? That is, no, I want to do
Uh,
replace every time. That is also part of the deployment. They are thinking like that.
people, we have to go for advanced, no? We have to. That's what our
Hmm.
efficiency comes in the industry. If
Hmm.
everyone
That,
are replacing like that, what is you doing? If suppose they will be doing the deployments for half an hour, if suppose we use this type of tricks, we can do
hmm.
it
No,
immediately so that yeah,
who doesn't come from the Linux background, if I tell like this, they won't understand actually.
satisfied. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they won't be satisfied. They won't understand basically what. Mm,
Right. So
okay.
initially I can do the deployment dot slash deploy all data sets.
Yeah.
Make sure you'll get the build success, okay, every application.
Yeah. But in and up to this time, it got everything is deployed. But it is taking a little bit of time.
But it is doing in a different way, right? We are going to be deploying using some plugins. We are creating right archetypes,
Yeah.
and there is I told you there was no options over there. Developer, if they are integrating the WebLogic server domain with Maven, they can they can design and develop and test from their dev environment only. No need to be sent to us.
Okay. Especially it is used for developers, more useful.
Right. All applications deployed, right? Come into the active,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is accessing, right?
That's right.
And click on this application and I can testing. I can test. So I can accessing that application. I can able to stop from this Maven tool. Okay.
Yeah.
I can able to stop the application also. How it would be possible? Start and stop without going to the admin console.
Yeah.
Understand my point?
Yeah. Yeah. Got it.
This is my application now. It is already,
Yeah.
what is my action? Start. I'm stopping.
Stop. Okay.
No, 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 it is not stopped. It is giving some errors here, okay?
Yeah. That's rerun Maven with this switch. Access switch.
Because of username and password, weblogic 1,
Welcome one.
That is what I'm telling.
Password is okay.
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 I know by seeing the error, I know which is that error. See, authentication
Uh,
failed. Now you got the build success. Go to
yeah.
here, click on refresh. See, you are unable to access.
Mm,
Then
yes.
I want to start from here only. Same thing only. You can change the stop to start.
Mm, yeah, this is for single applications to be deployed and
Hmm.
installed.
Start and stop. You can prepare for script also for this also.
Mm,
So this is how you are going to be doing deployment using the auto deploy. I'm just doing, sorry, manual method called Maven tool.
undeployed.
How to undeploy using the Maven tool.
Okay.
If you are go to the environment, all the startup and shutdown scripts, all the scripts was there. Little bit changes according to their environment. That's it.
Yeah.
But we have seen five methods, right? But in real time, you may not get, or you may get. But you are already knew all the methods,
Yes.
right?
The
So this
one
is
that
the.
you stored for stop application,
Mhm.
you wrote some code, no? The
Mhm.
same code should be written in the dot V8 for all applications.
No, you can. This one you're talking about,
Yeah.
you can.
Can you
See,
expand this one undeployed.sh? This one,
this
Maven.
one, Maven.
Oh, that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is for stopping application.
Hmm.
This is a goal actually up to here. This is the goal. Then
Okay.
admin URL, then username and password, admin username and password, targets and application. Which application you want to stop?
Okay. This one V8 of undeployed.maven.sh. Yeah, this one. This one, can you get it or just wanted to know how you wrote?
Same thing only, but you cannot get the source. That's it. It is giving exception. Why it is giving exception? Are you able to see? Will failure, will failure.
Build failure, yes.
Why?
Already,
There is no applications
already
to
we,
undeploy.
yes. Because already we did no undeployed.
That's what I'm telling. There is no applications to undeploy.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
This is the goal. Up to here, goal
Hmm.
and admin URL and username, password and targets and application name.
Okay. That is what goal are goal.
Goal means that is like deploy, undeploy, redeploy like this. This is I
Oh,
didn't give anything. This is by default.
very fun. Okay.
This is I didn't give anything. This is by default. You need to be give like that
Okay.
only.
Okay.
So in Apache, I told you like the targets or deploy and deploy, but Apache and so here Maven goals we can call it as.
Okay. Okay.
This is about Maven tool. Then last method which we may have the WLST, deploying and deploying the applications using the WLST. That part we'll able to see in the WLST. Okay. So
Okay.
all methods we have seen like this, which we can able to deploy and deploy using the WLST. So this is WLST which plays a vital role in the environment for automating actually.
Hmm.
Right. So then after completing this part, generally I have completed all the deployment methods. I am moving into the advanced deployment in the sense what are the types of deployments was there. There are following types
Okay.
of deployments was there. One is side-by-side deployment. Second one is two-phase deployment. Third one is deploying using the plan. So what is the two-phase deployment? See, whenever you're deploying the applications, while you are selecting the target, in the sense you are deploying the two-phase deployment only. For activating those deployed applications, it will take two phases, right? Activate in a
Yes.
two phases. Applications are deployed using the two-phase deployment is nothing but what applications which are going to be copied into the cluster in two phases. In phase one, generally what will happen? Distribute the application components and modules to the server. In phase two, deploy the application if phase one was successful. And this permits client able to access that application. When it is possible, whenever the classes and methods deployed successfully into the WebLogic server. Clear?
Yeah.
This mechanism we can call it as a two-phase deployment. In the sense, while you are deploying, if you select the target as a cluster, so this is the process internally will do. Okay.
Okay.
Important entry question: what is the two-phase deployment? Then very important to another one. What is the production redeployment or side-by-side deployment? Any idea about this? Production redeployment or side-by-side deployment? Okay. No idea.
This one deployment. I would like to ask you this one. Undeploy and redeploy. What is the difference actually?
Undeploy is nothing
Undeploy in
but
the
what
sense
removing the applications from the
removing.
WebLogic server.
Yeah, as
Redeploy means
entirely. Yeah.
already
Mhm.
application was there, you are updating.
Updating. Okay.
Right. So we are discussing about the production redeploying
Side by side.
or side by side deployment. See, this is
Redeploying in the
application.
sense side by side deployment. Redeploying in the
Production
sense
redeployment.
production redeployment. Production redeployment. Okay. Okay.
See, this is application 1. Same application
Okay.
only, version 1. Version 2. Okay.
Okay.
So generally, new clients will access the new version, right?
Yeah.
Existing client can access the old version. New client they can access the new version, right?
New version. Yes.
Right. See, what is the production redeployment? In other words, side by side
Side by
deployment.
side.
See, there is nothing but what a revised version of the production application can be redeployed alongside with the old version without affecting the existing application. Understood? Both
Okay.
version 1 and version 2, both applications are active at the same time without interrupting the any existing application. We are going to be deploying the new application. So in the sense, new
Okay.
version, same application only new version. WebLogic server generally automatically manages the client connections. If the request is existing, then it will go to the existing application. Existing application request, it will forward to the existing. Then if the request is new, a new client request, generally which are going to be directed to the a newer application. So whenever the
Okay. Got it.
old application requests are going to be complete, then it is going to be undeploys all that application which is going to be retires and undeploys. It manages automatically because every application have its own URL, right? Even version one also its own URL. Version two also its own URL. Understood?
Yeah.
Application version one has its own URL, right? URL is different.
Yes.
Version one and version two. That's why there is no disturbing or there is no way to interrupting the existing application with new version. So both versions are active at the same time, which is accessed by the old application, I mean older application can
Only
access
one
by the
actually.
existing clients connections, and new application can generally can access the new client connections without any disturbance. This feature was introduced after WebLogic Server 9.2 version onwards. Before it wasn't there. Understood? You can deploy just like
Yeah.
normal application only, right? Version 1 and
Yeah.
version 2. But whenever these retrieving the application of the old or existing client connections is completes, this application is going to be retired, and after that you are going to be undeploying. Then at that time, all the client connections which are going to be moved to the new application only.
New version.
Understood? Or new version.
Yeah.
This is called side by side deployment or production redeployment. Very important interview
Same
question.
way. Same vice versa, no? If suppose the old version has to be application has to be deployed in old version, the new version will be retired. Same, like
Now, why it is going to be retired the new application? That you have to be telling. There is no purpose, right? Deploying a new application means a new version means you are adding and updating. Then why you want to why you want to retire it?
then this one, old version, you said
Old version means they
something.
are updating, right? See, you have the WebLogic server. Example, if you take the Blade version, I don't know what are the versions. Version 1 and version 2. All the clients are upgraded to the version 2, in the sense new version. Then why you are going with the new version, old version again? They dare and go to the new old version.
Mm-hmm.
Vice versa, it is not possible,
Then
right?
okay, but why we are using still the old version in this
Before
one?
they are going to be update, right? They are going to be completing their work and they are going to be update with the new application. Immediately, everybody cannot update, right?
Yeah, it takes time.
It takes time. Until that, it is going to be available, or simultaneously both applications can able to access it until completing the
Mm.
application existing client connection request.
Okay, but URL you are saying something same URL will be there for both or
Now,
different?
same URL how it would be version 1 and version 2.
Yeah,
Application you are deploying with version 1, it is a different URL. Version 2, it is a different URL.
different URL. Yeah.
There is a reason it is not possible to interrupt the existing application. There is no way to interrupt the existing application.
Existing information. Yes, yes, got it. Yeah.
Right. So just like normal deployment only. Okay.
Okay,
How you have done the normal deployment, similarly like that same process. So the
okay,
third one, very very important one. What is the deployment plan generally? So deployment plan is nothing but is the XML document. So which is used to define an application's deployment configuration for a specific environment. Example, you are in a dev environment. There is no plan over there, right? They are
yeah,
going to be designing and developing, and then after that deploying and creating all the resources. Then after get success, everything gets success, right? I need to be
yeah.
prepare the deployment plan before that application moving to the test environment. Because there if you'll get any issues without changing the deployment descriptor or without contacting to the developer, we're just going through that deployment plan and fix those issues. That is the reason we are going to be preparing the deployment plan. Understood?
Yeah, understood.
So you can usually change the application's WebLogic server configuration for a specific environment without changing the existing deployment descriptor. That is the reason you are going to be preparing the deployment plan. Okay?
Okay.
And it is an optional generally, but we need to be creative. But these days, which is important, deployment plan. Then now
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah, to avoid.
mhm.
Mhm.
in
To
the
avoid issues, it's better we use deployment
in
tool.
the development we don't have. In the testing we have staging. Whenever you have the requirement, same application you are deploying for a multiple deployment environments. That time we always prepare the plan.xml file. It would be like this example. Then for preparing, what is the tool actually which we have? We have the Java tool called WebLogic Plan Generator. It is a Java utility which we can able to prepare the deployment plan using that Java utility. So you have to follow the following steps actually. First, you have to be create the work directory. Under that, you can create the app and plan. Under the plan directory, you can copy the application. For which application you want to prepare the deployment plan. Okay.
Okay.
And after that, you have to issue the following command.
Okay.
So I'm creating the work directory. Okay. Go to
Okay.
the work. No, directory name, whatever you wish, you can able to give. But these are meaningful.
Yeah.
Under this, what I need to be copy the application to which application I want to prepare the deployment plan. Example, shopping cart.web. Okay,
Yeah.
I can check. Which is copied, right?
Yes.
So plan.xml, it's empty directory, right?
Yeah.
Plan directory,
Yes.
it's empty directory, right? Hello?
Plan.xml. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Hello.
does not have anything in the plan directory. It's empty directory.
It's actually there. Yeah.
Java says weblogic.plan generator to where you have created that work directory and
Oh.
application name. Okay, where you want to store the
Okay.
plan.xml after generating home Linux Oracle work plan,
Everything.
right?
Yeah.
Issue this command.
This is what actually which this command
We are preparing the deployment plan
plan. WebLogic
by
plan
using
generator.
this
Okay.
command. Java
Okay.
space weblogic plan generator. Then which is created under
Okay.
this path. Okay.
Yeah. Now we'll go to that.
Earlier it was empty directory. Now see
Now
every configuration
okay.
about the application configuration it is going to be recording like this.
Okay.
After preparing the plan.xml, I need to be deploy using the plan.xml. Click on install and even other methods also. You just specify hyphen plan equal to hyphen plan space path in which path you have
Okay.
specified created the deployment plan. Select the application. See down you have right deployment plan archive.
IBM.
See, click on
Yeah.
next. Click on next. Deployed successfully right and comes into the active state.
Yeah.
And click on test it. You are able to access it. Clear right?
Yeah.
These are the three ways or types of the deployments in WebLogic server. Then after that, so we may have the other one called what are the startup and shutdown classes? Important in the question. What are the startup
Startup and
and
shutdown.
shutdown classes? Startup classes, these are the classes which are going to be loaded while you are booting the WebLogic server instances. Right? So
Yeah.
what it is going to be loads, initialize the object's memory and construct the JNJ tree and configuring the local JDBC and JMS services. If it is there any failed services, it is going to be recovered. All these services which are going to be initialized while you are starting the WebLogic server. All those classes is loads during the WebLogic server boots.
Yeah.
Then configuration we'll able to see later. And what is the shutdown class? See, whatever the in the shutdown class generally what will happen, these are the shutdown classes which gets executed whenever the WebLogic server setting down. Usually generally it is used to free the resources, right, which are obtained by using the startup classes. Understood?
Yeah.
Whatever the classes which are obtained by the startup, generally which are going to be free by the shutdown classes. Configuration we'll able to see. Then what is the start uh, startup class sequence? Important entry question. Whenever you issue the command called starting the WebLogic server, initially it is going to initialize the JDBC and the JMS service in real time. Okay, even configurations also first after setting up the cluster, you can see the JDBC and JMS configurations. Okay,
Yeah.
then after that you do the deployments. Okay, then after
Yeah.
that, it has going to load the startup classes. This is about the startup class execution. Let us see how you can able to configure it. So expand the environment node. You'll have the startup and shutdown classes. Click on new, select the class type and provide the name and class name and click on next. To which server you have to be executed. Select that server
Okay.
and click on finish button. Similarly like that. Shutdown class also.
Okay.
This is how we are going to be configuring the startup and shutdown classes.
Sure.
Then after completing that, so what is the real-time deployment process? In real time, how you can able to do, right? The first
Yeah.
one, what is hot deployment?
Okay.
See, hot deployment generally, which is nothing but what deploying the applications into the WebLogic server without scheduling the server downtime. Without scheduling the server
Server
downtime,
down.
which is called hot deployment, which is not recommended from WebLogic server 9.x onwards because there is a chance of losing the existing data if deployment wasn't successful. If it does not
Okay.
have any alternative, then only we will go with the hard deployment. While running the servers, we are going to be doing the deployments while running the applications. So
Yeah.
that is called hot deployment and which is not
Okay.
recommended again. Cold deployment. In the sense, deploying the applications by scheduling some server downtime into the WebLogic server. So that mechanism we can call it as cold deployment. In production always will go like this only. Steps are
Mhm.
process. Stop the applications
Okay.
and take the
Backup.
backup. And next, stop the servers.
Yeah. Remove the cache. Yeah. I mean, sorry.
Yes. No, yes, done.
Rename the. Oh,
Go to the domain home,
okay.
servers and server name
Mm.
and take the backup of cache,
Cache.
temp,
Yes. Okay.
stage directories. This process you have to be do for every managed server. How many servers you have selected target, set target that many times.
Yeah. Yeah. Suppose three are there, three servers you have to go and
Right.
rename the
Remove those
cache.
directories because all the runtime information which is available under those directories only. If
When
it
it
does
comes
not,
up, it again, yeah, when it comes up, again it creates cache temp stage, no?
yes, no, just wait again.
Okay.
Then
Please go ahead.
after deleting that part, generally what we can able to do, why we are going to be deleting, see all the application related information which is going to be stored under the runtime, like these
Okay.
directories only. Whenever you deploy, generally what will happen, even though it is going to be picking the old applications features only, because it is getting from the
Mm.
these runtime directories. So that is the
Yeah.
reason we are going to be deleting and deploying, and it will create whenever you start the applications again. So
Yeah.
then after that, deploy the applications. Oh, sorry. Start the servers.
Deploy, we should not deploy.
Start the servers. Wait. Deploy the applications using any one method. And testing the applications. This is the real-time deployment process. Okay.
But in our team, no, we have after start before after stopping and removing cache, we deploy and then start.
It will do
Uh,
whatever it is. What is the problem in this?
okay, we follow. We are banking client.
No.
We follow
Deploying.
procedures.
Deploying before means then you have to be start.
Yeah,
Up to
yeah.
here is important.
It's, mm,
Up to here is important. Starting the server and stopping the server, that is also interview question. Whenever I stop the servers, can I deploy the applications into the WebLogic server?
mm,
Yes, you can deploy, but you will get the new state that time. Again, you need to start means it is going to start the application again. starting the server
Okay.
and starting the application. Before, after that, before doing that part, you can do like that also.
Both ways.
You can do testing the applications. Then
Okay.
generally, in other interview questions, generally, how do you get the where are ER files in real time?
Mm, yeah.
Then before you are doing this process, how do you get the where are ER files? See, in real time, you may have the some build release tools.
SVN, I am aware. SVN.
SVN and something like that. CVS now recently, which we can call it as Jenkins and all those tools actually. Those are all the tools which is generally configured and maintained and managed by the build release engineers. They are going to be creating the central repositories. Okay,
Okay.
they are going to be creating the central repositories. Understood? In
Yes.
that central repositories, they can check in and keep all the var ER files. And they will give you credentials to us. We are going to be checking and deploying the applications from that path to your local machine. Otherwise, you can copy the applications from that to your local machine and you can check out and start this deployment process. Very, very important interview questions. This is what, how you can able to get the var ER files in your environment. Directly, you cannot able to get, nobody gives to your local machine directly. Okay?
Yes. Yes. They have central repositories. Yes. Yes.
They have
We
central
also do
repository.
it this way.
If you does not tell directly, you tell these steps, they will believe like that you are a fake guy. Because most of the environment you will get like this only. The, that that where you are, that where it counts the real time knowledge.
Yeah. SVN.
Right. Right.
Instance.
This is completely completes about the deployment process. And regarding the deployment issues, I told you actually one issue I told you. And see, if I tell you any issue, something like that. That is what one common issue. Loading means classes that does not have any meaning again for asking the another question also, right? But if I tell you
Yeah.
any other issue which is coming in my environment, that again it leads to the another questions actually, because
Mm,
you may not know the complete applications environment, right? For what reason it get the error, and how you can able to troubleshoot. Then you they will going to be asking other questions also by giving your answers, right?
okay. Yeah.
I will discuss at the end two or three issues which needs to be, you know, in the real, which needs to be explained in the interview. Because one question you will able to get, what is the complex issue which you will able to get, then how you will resolve that issue? How did you resolve that issue? What is the complex issue you got recently? Then how did you resolve that issue? That common question you will
Yeah.
able to get.
Common question. Yes.
Hmm. That is one common question actually. So that you have to be explain about at least 3 to 5 minutes, including the reason, what steps needs to be installed, what needs, where you can work around, then what are the steps for troubleshooting. You can explain at least 3 to 5 minutes about that issue, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. They'll definitely ask that complex issue that you found and how did you
That
recently how did you
yes,
do?
yes, yes. That is one common issue. That is the reason I'm telling you. At the end, I can discuss two issues or two
Okay.
or three issues commonly.
Okay.
Then you
Hmm.
can go with that. One is IC utilization issue. Then like that, I can discuss two issues or three issues. Okay,
Okay.
investigation steps and all those. How you can able to like, how you can able to tell that I can discuss.
Okay.
Right. So this completely completes about the deployment part. And if I have any time today, I'll drop the message to you and we'll able to start the JDBC,
Okay.
Java database connectivity,
Database content.
for configuring the data sources. In other words, connections to the applications.
Okay.
Database connections to the applications.
Applications.
It's a small concept in the sense, it is not a big like deployment. Then after that, we'll see the JMS. If I complete the JDBC, I can move to the JMS. Okay.
Okay.
So my target is what, today, if I will get any time, I will finish the JDBC. I'll complete half part in the JMS. And tomorrow, I can complete the JMS part. Then after that, security. Okay.
Okay.
And node manager. So up to
Hmm.
here, I want to finish by tomorrow.
Okay.
because today, tomorrow only we can able to take more time. Means
Yes, yes.
there is no
Yeah.
rush here. Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
so I can take up to here in the sense, So then Monday from tomorrow is Sunday, right?
Yeah, Sunday tomorrow.
Monday also I can take more time.
Okay.
Like tomorrow I can take. I'll tell you. Maybe tomorrow I'll start at 6:30.
Mm. Okay.
WLST and logging. These are all the small concepts actually. WLST is a big concept, and WebLogic logging and virtual hosting. On Monday I'm talking about. I can
Okay.
finish up to here. Okay,
Okay.
including the version differences. So 3 hours. This is again 3 hours. Like today, how I have taken, and
Yeah.
1.5 hour like that. Total 7 8 hours. Okay, in coming
Okay.
2 days. In coming 2 days, I can take